Hello everyone, thank you for being with us. First I'd like to introduce Chief Sam Taylor from as you know, the Lakeland Police Department. We gave you a briefing last night and you will find that the information that we provide for you today is remarkably close to the initial information that we released.
What's up, guys? TrueCrimeKing back. All right, so we got a officer shot down in Polk County by a teen. So I don't know. Let's see how this young generation is conducting themselves. We're gonna see it for ourselves. I think they're gonna show a video. So here we go.
Of course, any information we release this early after an investigation of this magnitude is subject to modification.
And real quick, somebody said, I do lazy work or whatever, but 90. I guess he hasn't watched 90% of my videos, where I probably do more editing and work on my videos than he does. Right? Just wanted to address that one last point.
Because our detectives are still actively working this event. But before we start, let me show you some brief clips of. First clip will be the initial find, where the officer heard shots fired, saw them as one of them was running back into the car, and there was a short pursuit. Then you'll see the second clip, short clip, where the officer was chasing the suspect, and the suspect ran around the corner, turned around, and shot at the police officer. And
wow, so he runs around the corner, turns around, and comes back and fires at the officer. What?
We will show you not only a couple of seconds of that, but we'll also show you a freeze frame so that you actually can see how the guy was not only not shooting back over toward the officer, but actually turned and squared off in order to shoot at him. Okay, this was the initial shooting that he heard, and as you see, our suspect, even though he was commanded to stop, he jumped in the car and off they fled. This was from the initial shooting.
Okay, so number one, they're running from police. Why are they running from police, right? Come on. If a cop pulls up behind you, turns his lights on, you don't get in your car and run away. Right? I mean, come on. So obviously, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse you can come up with that I'm gonna believe. Okay, so don't even try.
This was called in as a dangerous shooting. And
yeah, so the police are responding to this because whoever called said there was a dangerous shooting. Okay. So the police are already on high alert. They don't know who's out there. They just know what they're being told over the radio.
The pursuit. Now, our suspect with a firearm to the left.
So he's got a firearm out, and they're running at full speed away from the officer. Like, what does that tell the officer, right? I mean, come on. It's common sense, right? But some of you are gonna still try and defend this guy. Like, there's what? Don't even try.
You can see the firearm in his hand. The car is left on its own to wander down the street.
So they just leave the car, just wandering. What if a little kid is playing right there in that yard, right in the street? The car's gonna hit him. No one's controlling that car. Again, there's no justification for this whatsoever. At all.
And sideswipe some innocent person that's
So it did sideswipe an innocent person. Like, come on.
Just trying to get home from work. And
an innocent person. We don't. And if anybody tries to bring race into this, you are a dumb clown. Okay. So it doesn't matter who they are. I would react the same fucking way.
Next clip. Now the officer is pursuing our suspect with the gun, Dalmas. And you see the dirt fly up. That's when the officer is shot, right there.
Okay, yeah. So the guy, look, he's turning around, shooting, and at the officer. For what? For what? He can't be afraid of his life because he could have just kept running, right? The officer's not just, he's not just gonna shoot him. But he turns around and tries to kill the officer. It's wrong and it's ridiculous. And you can't change my mind on that. That's just my opinion, and it won't change. So I'd love to hear if you have a different opinion than that, because if you do, I think there might be something wrong in the head with you. You might have 2 brain cells, and maybe one of them or all of them aren't working. But this is ridiculous.
That's when our officer's shot. There's the freeze frame to show how he turned all the way around 180 degrees in order to shoot.
180 degrees. He turns around.
At the officer. And there's, that shot is what hit the officer in the foot. So,
I mean, obviously these guys aren't trained with firearms. That's why, there aren't more police killings, because the people shooting back at the police, most of them don't have any training, right? They just, and this guy's firing it with one hand. Like, what? Obviously he has no idea what he's doing with a gun, right? Luckily the officer only got hit in the foot, right? If he was a good shot, he would have killed the officer.
I first wanted you to see that. Now, as everyone knows, we're doing Facebook Live, and that's important. And the reason it's important today is because the news stations and the television are going to blur out the faces of these folks that are under 18 years of age, because they don't want to hurt the little darlings.
I mean, if they have the balls to do this kind of crap, and we can't even show their faces, I think that's ridiculous, right? If you want to act like a big boy, then you're going to get treated like a big boy, right? Or you should. That's my opinion.
Who are, by the way, shooting at the cops, shooting at the neighbors, stealing stuff. So they've got this...
Shooting at the cops, shooting at the neighbors, stealing stuff. I mean, what? Is there somebody that's going to try and justify all this, right?
Silly policy where they won't run this stuff. So for all of you who watch the edited news, go back to our Facebook and see the real news, okay? I am not happy with that, if you can't tell. I read the morning paper after a guy tries to kill a police officer, and they fuzz out his face because he's only 13 years old with a gun shooting at the cops after he shoots at somebody in the neighborhood.
So he's only 13 years old. Where is he learning this stuff from? I mean, let me know in the comments, where is this 13-year-old learning to shoot at officers, right? And why? Why is he being taught that, right?
Neighborhood. So here you go. Get ready, editors at your television stations, for editing this stuff out. And I'll probably mention it again that I'm...
Oh, good. Grady's showing the faces. He ain't blurring them out. Good.
Not happy with your editorial decision. Shame on you. You're hiding criminals who are shooting at neighbors, who are shooting in neighborhoods. who are shooting at innocent people.
Totally agree.
Because you don't want to show their face, and they're felons. They're dangerous felons. So here's what they were doing, so I can give a little color behind your edit. They were riding around.
And so I haven't heard this yet, but let's all listen to this, right? And let's see if there's any way that anybody could justify this, right? Because I know I'm going to get comments trying to.
In Julian's vehicle. Julian is 19.
And somebody will say, he's making this up. Oh, this isn't real. You're a clown.
Wesley, that shot the police officer, is 13, and Leonard is 14. Now, when we talked to you last night, Wesley was in custody. We had just arrested, the police had arrested Julian in the vicinity of the scene where he ran. Leonard ran and got all the way home to West Lakeland before we arrested him later in the evening. He was 14. Now, here's a test for those of you who would wonder, okay, if there's 3 people in the car, how many guns are there? Well, we found 2. So who had the guns? The 13-year-old that shot the police officer, the 14-year-old Leonard Spate had one underneath the seat. And here's what we know.
So they're that young, and they're driving around with 2 pistols loaded. Obviously they're loaded, or they wouldn't be able to shoot at the officers. Not shoot back, shoot at. Shoot at first.
The details we didn't release. So officers...
And I'm just going with the facts, right? That's all I'm doing.
Smith is on another call. And he's on this other call, and out comes a dangerous shooting in the 1600 block of Kettles near the Simpson Park. So he hears the gunshots, and he rushes up, and you saw the video clip, where Dalmas is now getting into the left rear seat of the car. And the car speeds off. There's a short pursuit. They all 3 abandon the car to run from the cops. Leonard leaves his gun underneath the right front passenger seat where he's riding. Wesley Dalmas takes his gun with him and ultimately shoots the police officer.
So Wesley is the dude that was in the black shirt that was running and then did a 180 and shot. And it was a bad shot, and luckily just only struck the officer in the foot. I mean, it could have been worse if he was a good shot, right?
And Jermaine Julian, who's driving his mama's car, leaves it to...
Right, let's pause it. I mean, these are the people that tried to kill the police officers, right? The people that try and protect you guys, right? Us.
Right off by itself, sideswiping some poor innocent person probably trying to come home from work. So the shooting...
And innocent people are getting killed, are hurt. You know, like what? Come on.
Occurs. And it's much like the chief gave you the rendition last night. Our follow-up is that Wesley Dalmas intentionally tried to murder a Lakeland police officer. But
intentionally tried to murder a Lakeland police officer. I mean, those are the facts. We saw it in the video, right? There's no denying or justifying it. He's a bad man, right? Or kid.
But that was only after they were out cruising. You know what they were doing? They were smoking marijuana. You know, that low-level, non-violent drug. Let me say that again, because you see, that causes the media.
Okay, so right now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, first they were just smoking marijuana, right? It's illegal. They're too young. It's illegal, right? So what do you think the cops are going to do What are they supposed to do, right? It's their job, right? Even though it's not that big of a deal, it's their job. It's illegal, right? They're too young, and it stops there. They're just too young, right? How old do you have to be to legally smoke marijuana? You guys do the math, right?
Get a cringe every time I say it. They were all riding around smoking that low-level, non-violent drug that they call it marijuana. Well, why were they doing that? Because they were looking for an op. You know what an op is?
Let's hear it. What's an op? So they were looking for an op.
Opposition.
Okay. They were looking for someone to attack them, right?
You see, here's what we know. We know that Wesley is an associate gang member. See, he's associates of gang members.
So he's not a gang member. He's an associate. Big difference.
Jermaine has been determined to be a gang member at 19. Leonard, at only 14, is determined to be a gang member.
So they all want to be gang members already at this age, right?
So they're smoking dope, riding in the car, looking for an op. What's an op? An opportunity to shoot the opposition.
Okay, so yeah, that's what they're doing. They must obviously admitted that, or Grady wouldn't know this, right?
Obviously, they found them because they shot in the direction of someone. Did that someone report to the police? We have no idea.
Okay, so that's how it started. They were riding around illegally, number one, because they had marijuana. They were smoking marijuana and they're too young. And then they just start shooting at somebody for no reason, right?
Who they were shooting at, whose vehicle.
So that's why the police responded, because they fired a shot. It wasn't because of the marijuana. So we can forget about that debate now. They shot at somebody, right?
Whose house, what person they were shooting at, because no one reported it to us. But alas, they won't report it because they normally don't, because their thought is, I know who the opposing gang member is, and I'll go back and shoot at them later. Well, newsflash, you won't get a chance to shoot at these folks because we got them locked up.
And yeah, apparently nowadays people think it's cool to be locked up, right? No, it's not. It's not cool at all, actually. Come on.
So now we know that, as the chief reported, the shooting, he turned and shot. He fled on foot again from the police officer. Subsequent to that, he ran around the corner of the next building and hid behind a bush.
He hid behind a bush. What a man, right? What a man. He's hiding in a bush.
And Wesley then, when the police officer, Officer Smith, noticed that nobody's here, he looked back, and behind him, he sees Wesley, still firearm in hand, jumps up and tries to get away again, and that's when there's another engagement, and Wesley's shot.
Well, he was shooting at the officers first. Then he shot again. What are the police supposed to do, right? What are they supposed to do? Stand there, not fire, and get killed, right?
We know this morning that Wesley is shot in the leg, and he's shot in the left thigh and the stomach. We know that he was carrying a Taurus 9mm semi-automatic.
Semi-automatic pistol. Come on. Where's he learning this shit from? What are you guys doing?
We know that when he spun to shoot at at Officer Smith, at the Lakeland police officer, he shot at him 3 times. We also know that the other firearm was a Taurus 9mm as well. But you know what's interesting about this? Now I'm going to make another group of people not happy, but you should understand.
Yeah, I mean, this is common sense, right? If a whole group of people gets mad because we're telling the truth and we're just telling facts, then it's fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
That when you leave your firearms in your vehicles at night, this is the thieves that are stealing them. That's right. That's how they got these guns. So far.
So they're stolen illegal guns. Gate 2. They're stealing the guns, then using the guns to shoot people. You know what I mean? Like, what? What is happening? This didn't happen before. Why is this happening now?
We've not been able to find where these 2 Tauruses were stolen from. They're not in the computers, which means somebody's not keeping their serial numbers. Do you know that all 3 of these people were on active probation?
So, and they know they're on probation? You have to know, right? Come on. It's even though it's not that big of a deal, it's still illegal to smoke marijuana on probation. Being that young. It's illegal to have a gun while you're on probation. You shouldn't have a stolen illegal gun anyway. Right? I mean, I could go on and on. Come on. This is common sense.
All 3 of them. What were they on probation for? Well, Leonard was with Wesley the night that they broke into or attempted to break into a car. And it turns out, we told you, the victim saw them breaking into the car. It was a neighbor. And sheriff's deputies arrested them. We also reported last night that the gun that they stole in that conveyance burglary. Nay. We've since learned that Wesley brought that gun with him to flip handles and break into the car. So I want you to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. The person breaking into your car, seeking your wallet, your cards, your cash.
So these are the car thieves too. So if you had your wallet stolen or something stolen out of your car near the Polk County area, it might have been from these guys.
Your guns. This guy, even though his...
And do you think they know whose car they're stealing out of when they just open whatever car they can get open, right? They don't care whose car it is, right? They don't care.
His chronological age is 13. He's a hardened criminal who will shoot you, because if you'll shoot the cops, you'll shoot anybody. And he was that...
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to shoot at the cops and try and kill them, I mean, what would stop you from killing an innocent civilian? You know what I mean? Come on. This is ridiculous.
Arrested with Leonard, who was 14. One of the conditions of both of their probations, among many conditions, was they're not supposed to be together.
They weren't even supposed to be together. Oh, probation, not supposed to be together. Come on, capiche.
Let me think. Were they together yesterday? Yes. Jermaine has a more illustrious criminal history. And
oh, guys, the light's on, right? It's just dark in here because I got a filter on. You dumbass.
that he's been arrested for attempted burglary and loitering and prowling and violations of probation. They've all had violations of probation because they don't pay attention. He's had 6 arrests in the past, 4 VOP felonies and 2 straight-up felony criminal charges. And these others were arrested that night, and several violations since then.
All right, this video's getting long. We've seen and heard enough. There's no justification for this shit. Why are these guys doing this crap? Who's teaching them to do this at this age, man? Already trying murdering people? Come on. Have a good day, guys. True Crime King.